So we're here at Qumran showing off the caves that they found the Dead Sea Scrolls in. We're in Qumran today. This is where they found the Dead Sea Scrolls. They have found them in all sorts of different caves, and the story behind them is an amazing story. And the fact that they're still with us. These caves happen to be the perfect temperature, the perfect salinity in the air, the perfect moisture or lack of it. Today's a little bit moist. I got a little sprinkle drizzle coming down, but normally it's very dry. And it was just the perfect conditions to preserve these scrolls for over 2,000 years. The story of the Dead Sea Scrolls discovery is an amazing one. As it goes, one of the Bedouin shepherds in the area left his flock of sheep and goats to go searching for a stray. Around the cliffs and caves in Qumran, he began to looking in some of the caves, and he tossed a stone inside one of them. And instead of hearing it bounce off the wall or something, he instead heard the sound of breaking pots. That pot actually contained was ancient fragments of scrolls that had begun to deteriorate, but they were there in the caves. This shepherd and some companions brought 7 of the scrolls to a man named Kondo, a Bethlehem antiquities dealer, for appraisal. The Bedouin sold 4 of the 7 scrolls to Kondo, and 3 to another antiquities dealer named Salahi. Kondo then resold the 4 scrolls to the Archbishop Samuel, head of the Syrian Orthodox monastery of St. Mark in Jerusalem. And between him and then a gentleman that the other dealer sold them to, the world became aware. And that's when the Dead Sea Scrolls made the huge stir that they did. They were amazed to find Hebrew manuscripts 1,000 years older than any existing biblical text they had so far. It was a fascinating and amazing discovery. But you see, all these different caves are where they found the scrolls. They've now been taken to the Israeli Museum. They've set up a place there, a vault, where they can be preserved in the same condition and where they can then take the pictures and examine them. And what we're learning from them every day is amazing. So let me show you a little bit more about it here. Okay, this is the Dead Sea. And then as we swing around, this is actually the Qumran Visitor Center. So that gives you a little bit of an idea how close it is. Use that door. No, use that door. Which door do you use? Okay, here's the good news. You don't actually have to worry about either one. But this is the entrance. And there's the shopping. Lots of shopping. So when you walk in, there will be a movie here. It's not working today, unfortunately. My guess, maybe COVID. Then they actually walk you through the theater into their little museum. And this tells the story of the scrolls and how they found them and how they were preserved. And it's really neat. This is in English and Hebrew, so you should be able to understand everything just fine. So after the museum, which is right there, you can see the Dead Sea in the distance. Then you walk out, and they've got a wonderful walking trail where you can see everything. Now we're here on an incredibly nice day. The high today is supposed to be 77. You can see the clouds, and there's a little mist. The day before, it was 94 degrees. And this is November 30th, December 1st. So be prepared for hot most of the time. But you can see all of the caves up there, and there's tons of them. And there's more way off in the distance, and just littering the hills here with caves. And they found scrolls in several of them going on in that direction. One of the other things that's really neat is they do have an audio tour here, and it is available in English. They've actually got a QR code up at the entrance that you can scan, and it will then give you access to the audio tour and let you hear narration and explain more about what you're seeing up in the hills. Now, you do need to have cell phone signal for it to work. So if you're trying not to use international cell data, well, yeah, you'll be out of luck. But if you do have a cell phone connection, that will definitely work for you. This is another model of a mikveh, which is the ritual baths that they would use. And it was a very important part of their rituals and cleansings. So you will find them all over in communities like this. And actually, the symbolism of the ritual bathing in the mikvahs is actually what led to John the Baptist doing baptisms for repentance, and eventually leading to what we do in churches today as baptisms. So yes, a lot in common. The story of the mikveh and the ritual cleansings is a really cool one, and I may try to share that in another video. You can see they've got all sorts of different displays here. There's an observation tower that will also give you access to other things to be able to see. Neat little walk up here. And so we're going to kind of walk up and show a little bit more. There are ruins here of the community. And so you can see a little bit of that. And again, that audio tour that I mentioned will help explain what a lot of that is. And yeah, just check this out. Very cool to be able to look up and then know what they were hiding up in the hills. These rooms belong to the administrator responsible for finances and the community spirit. 3 pottery jugs containing 560 silver coins were discovered in this room. That's actually pretty cool. That's really neat. And I just tripped on a stone. Ha! But again, you get a wonderful look up at the hills, and you kind of get a look at what these thrones around here are just amazing. Okay, and again, what's really cool is you can see right behind me, that's the Dead Sea. So this is a cistern. What's a cistern? It's where they stored their water. And especially out here in the middle of the desert, you needed to store every little bit of water they could. You can actually see the little channels up there. That's where water would flow when it would rain. And it would flow down into that channel, one into the mikvahs, the ritual bath, which is hiding right there. But then it would also flow right down here and into the cistern. And that would give them their drinking water, cooking water, and whatever else they needed. So, very important part. In fact, you can actually see even more channels flowing through. And, yep. Ancient version of running water. And just really cool. So you're looking at that channel. It actually runs here, and check it out. There is a big cistern. Yeah, so water, very important in the desert. And that's how they help keep it stored. And again, a little bit more of the ruins, refectory. So where they would teach and learn. So this is their kitchen where they would cook, pottery storeroom, and then they would actually eat in the community hall right here. But you also had to ritually cleanse yourself before you ate. So there is this bath right there. Again, the ritual cleansing the mikvahs was very important. They also had to make sure they cleansed themselves before they start copying scrolls, because you had to be cleansed before you wrote the name of God. Whole big story about that. So I should at some point produce a video about the ritual cleansing in the mikvahs, and hopefully produce that. That'll be up on the Burning Bush channel at some point. And then another look at the actual caves. And it was in one of those, I believe, one of the ones almost straight ahead to the right, just a smidge, is where they found the Isaiah scroll. Here's one of the things that's really cool. We're in the middle of the desert, right? This really is a barren desert. That is an oasis there. Those are all date plantations and everything planted around this oasis. And then over here is examples of how Israel is irrigating and planting. You can see just that big old green spot. And you'll find this throughout the deserts here. You'll look at something and it will look like this, just barren rock and sand. And then all of a sudden, here's green and orchards and other things. It's amazing how they're making the desert bloom. That's right here by the Dead Sea. So this is the cemetery for the community. The graves of those who lived here. So there's a look at Qumran. The caves where one of the most fascinating archaeological discoveries of the last 100 years happened. You can see the caves right here, the Dead Sea so close by, and some of the ruins of the community of the Essenes as well, the ones who wrote the scrolls. Hope you enjoyed this look. It was amazing and fascinating to be able to walk around. I want to give a huge shout out of thanks to my patrons and supporters for helping make things like this possible. And a huge thank you to you as well for watching. Thank you so incredibly much. God bless. But you can see all these different caves.